Exclamation, everybody, and welcome to another channel update. This one for December of 2016. Getting a little roundup, a little 2016 roundup, so we can see what we've done this year and what is upcoming for next year. The game in the background is the mobile version, the Android version of Dragon Quest I, a game I haven't played in a long time, but I actually had a pretty good run through with this one. You might notice something a little bit odd over in the corner of your screen. I have purchased, finally, a webcam of sorts. It's a little bit weird right now because I'm testing out the whole background removal thing, which is working to a certain extent. It's still I have a very busy background, so it's not able to handle it at times. So that also explains why I'm wearing a hat indoors. It's a very nice TF2 hat that I got from the Loot Gaming stuff, but it's I'm wearing it because if I leave my hair out, the camera goes really bad. It's like it doesn't know how to remove the background with all that going on. So I figured keeping it compact like this it should at least get some of the jaggies out of the video. But yeah, weird stuff, man. 2017 is going to be probably a very weird and strange year, possibly. On several levels. One of those being that I am going to try to be a proper streamer, maybe, by actually showing my damn face. As you can see, the funny thing here is this is on this hat is on the last the last hole, because I have such a ginormous freaking head here. But now you can make fun of me, because I made fun of myself. So I'm going to try this on streams. I may or may not actually remove the background. I'd like to remove the background from things, but if it looks this crappy, I might end up just leaving the background in, even though you're going to see my very disorganized and generally messy office here. At the very least, you'll see the Gear VR sitting behind me. But beyond that, that's one thing I'm going to be trying for. And as I move my head over to where the microphone is, you can see the pop filter wreaking havoc with the background removal, and half my shoulder's gone now. So this is fun. This is fun in games. Let me see if I can move forward a little bit, and maybe that'll get it to. Let me move both shoulders. There's stuff here. There's stuff here, camera. I can change the background too. Like, ooh, I'm at the Golden Gate Bridge. Look at me. I'm so spiffy. Oh, this is just terrible. this is awful. So yeah, I'm testing things. This is be the last time I use this probably, but I'm trying a few little things here and there. Although I guess technically if I turned the lights on here, it might actually work a little bit better. But anyway, all that stuff is going on. We have, as per the normal channel update rules, I have a bunch of stats and other things to relay about the channel, as well as information on sort of the inner workings, how the sausage is made, that kind of thing. That's generally what I do these channel updates for. And I have actually a lot of footage recorded here, so this might be a longer one, because I like to kind of look at what I've done for this year and see what I'm going to do for as far as next year is concerned. I have some ideas, but as always, as I always preface this thing with saying, is that Just because I have an idea doesn't mean I'm actually going to make it come to fruition, because time and energy are things that I generally have in short supply from time to time here. But anyway, we'll start out with some of the stats on the channel, and then I'll talk about some of the equipment I've got and I'm trying to get, and hopefully I will have a XLR cable coming in the next few minutes. So let's just talk about, what we've done as far as the channel is concerned. So our last update, which was October, but really came out in November, I think, we had 91,805 channel views, total channel views. We're up to now 95,338. So it's a very good jump there. We went from 362 subs last, I'm trying to not have that kick off like that, 362 subs last month to 367. So welcome all the newcomers, and welcome back to all the old comers, and thanks for sticking with me. And then we had 9,217 total minutes watched last month, and we're up to now 11,154 for this month, so that's not bad. I'm just doing that on a month-to-month basis. That's not really a comparison between one or the other. And as far as videos go, we went from 1,749 total videos to 1,822 videos this month, not including this one, which will be the probably 1,823 or so. And as far as the streaming stuff goes, on YouTube Gaming, I'm at 26 subs on the Memory League Doom channel. That's up from 25 last month. On Twitch, I'm up to 48 subs. That's up from 47 last month. And Beam, I've stayed consistent at 1 sub there. Although I just looked at the dashboard a little bit earlier, and apparently I have transcoding options now, because once you get like 2,500 sparks or whatever it is, you get that. So I'll see if I can actually get some transcoding options on the channel for things and whatnot. And I've stopped streaming to Hitbox, mostly because it wasn't really doing anything. Hitbox was just not, it was a box of crickets, basically. There was nobody showing up for anything, nobody saying anything. I think that is mostly established streamers who are well established already, and man, this is really messing up right now. Let me tell you, it's really messing up with the background and backdrops and things. Perhaps if I were a good, decent person, I would turn the lights on and see if that helps. Hang on 1 minute. All right, well, that seems to be working a little bit better. Not much. I just gotta keep moving my shoulders around so it knows that I'm here. It's slightly better. It's not the greatest thing in the world. Obviously, I think I'll just probably forego the whole background removal thing when we get into Twitch streaming and whatnot. Although I might actually shrink the video down a little bit more, perhaps. Well, now you can see some of the background. Now that I have the lights on, it's all bamboozled. But yeah, I'm looking at some of that, and I feel like I've made this even worse now, but oh well, we'll just roll with it. I would switch over to the non-background hiding thing, but I don't want this whole thing to go crap out on me. Because I feel like it will just crap out on me if I do that. And I'm recording via OBS already, doing some weird stuff here and there. So let's just roll with this and hope for the best. Just don't look at me. Don't look at me. Oh man. So some stats for the year here. I've got I went and listened to my SideQuest video on Christmas of last year that went out, and based on the numbers that I said there, I had, I think, 63,294 channel views this time last year. And so now we're up about roughly 32,000 channel views this year. We got roughly 46 subscribers this year. Still very good. I mean, I'm not a growing boy, but I'm still, it's better than I'd ever anticipated it would have been. And trying not to get too far away from the mic here. And we went up, I did about 601 videos and counting for the entire year. That is friggin' huge, my friends. Like 601 videos, not counting this video. And still counting. We still got a couple weeks left, and I still got a lot of stuff that I want to record and get out before the year's over. So that's a lot. I'm very impressed by that. It's funny. I was going through and compiling a list of all the games that I had played over the course of the year, and there were things there, like I had swore that I had played certain games this year, and then I looked back and I was like, nope, that was last year I played that, and that was last year I played this one, and last year I played this one, and it just seems like I did them just yesterday, at least in my brain case. So it's wild to me that we've gone through so many things, and when I was looking at how many games I played, I mean, I've got a list here that I was going through that I compiled for Cube Ramblings, because I figured I'd do a two-part, well, I was going to do one part, but it's going to be two parts now, a two-part series where in Cube Ramblings, where I would go over and revisit the games that I had played and revisit my thoughts on them, especially now after, hindsight being 2020 and all that stuff. And there's a lot of games here. Like there is, Mini Metro, Shadow Blade Reload, The Last Federation, Minecraft Story Mode, Space Engineers Epistory, Crashlands, Homeworld Deserts of Karak, Big Pharma, Firewatch, The Solus Project, Birth of the Federation, Blues and Bullets, The Descendant, Quantum Break, The Silent Age, Star Trek Online, Shadow Complex, what is that one? Stories, The Path of Destinies. I can't read my own handwriting. There you go. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan, Mirror's Edge, Catalyst, and over. Gemini, Heroes Reborn, Elder Scrolls Online, which is coming back, trust me. Quadrilateral Cowboy, Batman the Telltale series, Forza Horizon 3, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Ember, Empyrean, Galactic Survival, Starbound, Deus Ex Mankind Divided, The Turing Test, Duelist, Chronicle RuneScape Legends, Elder Scrolls Legends, which I'm actually going to make a series out of eventually, Astral Heroes, and which technically wasn't a series, but I've had like 2 videos of it, so and Paladins, which also not a series, but still something, and then that doesn't include all of the side quest videos. I went through and counted those. I had 78 side quest videos this year, and they're all like one-off videos. Some of them were revisits of previous games I had played, but they had been updated and whatnot along the way. One of these days I'll get glasses that don't fall down my nose and make me look like a granny. And it's I still have a couple more that I'm going to do this year, so I'll probably get up to about 80 or 81 side quest videos, and that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. That's 81 games pretty much, barring the duplicates that came around there. And some of those actually spawned into a series like the Turing Test and the Solus Project and a few others like that. So it's more to come on that. Lots of that going on. I'll be expanding it as I did a little bit this year with also covering mods whenever I can. Like if there's good mods out there in the community. I've been kind of poking my head in on Sky Oblivion for one thing, and what was the other one? Oh, there's a Wing Commander mod for Homeworld Remastered that I want to take a look at. And I still have it on my list to look at this, what was it, Star Trek Armada 3? Was it Armada 3? Was the mod there's a mod for Sins of a Solar Empire that was a Star Trek mod. I still want to look at that. I've never actually played Sins of a Solar Empire vanilla, so maybe I should play that too, just for the sake of argument. But I bought it just because it had this mod, believe it or not, and I wanted to play that, so we'll see what comes up with that. Also, there's a new skin that I haven't done yet. I've played with it, but I haven't actually recorded anything for Uplink. Very, very old game that was very good by Introversion Software, a little hacking game. And someone went through and is working on a brand new skin of it to make it look more modern day. And it's pretty nice. It's fairly nice. I mean, the game is still the game. It's just got a new coat of paint on it, which makes it look rather good, I think. I wonder if this is causing a reflection that's causing that to not work. Anyway, I don't need that copybook anymore right now, because I kind of have an idea what I'm going to say next here. But I wanted to give some ideas, some things that I'm looking at for upgrading my equipment and also the channel. Like I said, this is kind of a view of how things are working in the background, just in case you're ever curious as to what's going on. And one of those things is, obviously I've got a webcam now. It is a Logitech C922X webcam. It comes with this Personify software, which is the thing that's trying to actually remove the background and failing miserably at it. It's pretty good. It's got it does 1080p at 30 FPS, which is enough for a face cam, and it also does 720p at 60. It looks like it. I mean, it's literally plug and play. Like, it came with no drivers. I just plugged the USB port in and bam, we got it. It downloaded everything. It downloaded all the software it needed. So Logitech is finally getting to a point where you don't have to fight with their drivers for things. So that is always good to see. And so I'll be probably putting my face on the webcams from here on out. Maybe I might sometimes not do it. It really depends on what I'm feeling like. I just because I still have to figure out like how to make this sync up with the live stream and stuff, because I don't think it's going to do it automatically. I think I have to put a delay on it or something so that my voice matches up with my lips match up with my voice, or vice versa, whatever. Right now I'm just recording locally, so I can match it up in Vegas. I use, in case you're ever wondering, I use Vegas Pro for my editing. I bought Vegas Pro 12 back in the day when I first started the channel, and then I recently, last year, bought Vegas 13. So I have 13 on the new computer and 12 on the old computer. That way I'm technically still, legal. I have 2 licenses basically, and 13 doesn't really add that much to the genre, other than to take a bunch of buttons that you're used to and put them down the bottom, which is annoying, but when you're switching between the 2 things, but once you get used to it, it's not a big deal. So it is what it is. It's not the I've tried looking at the Adobe stuff, Premiere, and I don't like the cloud-based stuff on there, because I kind of like to actually own the video, own the software and not rent it. I know that they're big on the cloud stuff, and I think you can buy a version of it that's, that you actually own. But I mean, that in and of itself is just kind of a little bit of a nitpick. I think my real concern with it is that every time I look at screenshots of, people working on their editing and stuff, it looks like a mess of buttons and knobs and switches, and it didn't take me very long to figure out how Vegas worked. But it feels like the learning curve for Adobe is going to be a lot steeper. So I'm kind of sticking with what I know. I've got to a point where, the rendering does take a while now, and Vegas, for some reason, doesn't use your GPU like it's supposed to, because, that would make too much sense, I guess. So, some of the rendering, it really depends on what's going on the screen. Like, most of my stuff takes about 4 hours to render, and so I let it render overnight, and then I can just upload it in the morning before I go to work and all that stuff. But there are occasions when there's like games like Duskers was a game where there was like filters, like kind of a weird filter over the whole screen, where like, even though you couldn't really see it with your eyes, the computer knows that every freaking pixel on that screen was changing. And so because it couldn't compress it, because everything was changing all the time, it took something like 7 hours to render that. And that's not the only game that's had that problem. I've had that problem with a few other games where they do this kind of weird vignette or whatever it is over the screen. And so sometimes things will take like 7 to 8 hours to render, but it hasn't been as bad as it was at one point in time. So I think we're good there for that right now. So Vegas is doing passably. It would be nice if I had access to all the, the bells and whistles that I think Premiere people get, like with the, transitions and all that stuff, but I really don't use transitions that much. I'm kind of low key when it comes to that. I remember reading stuff where it was like some filmmaker, and I forget who it was, said that they don't really use transitions that much in film because they're a little bit too distracting. The only one who ever really got away with good transitions was George Lucas in the original trilogy, Star Wars trilogy, and they actually analyzed some of what he did there, and they realized that a lot of his wipes worked because that was the way the camera was moving, and so it looked seamless when you did it that way. So it's things like that. I try not to get into any of the real advanced stuff because I don't think I need it, and I think it kind of detracts from the overall, the overall quality of the video. I don't want to really take away from that too much. So that's a thing. And then I also have a new microphone sitting here waiting for me. I'm waiting for an XLR cable for it right now. But I got what did I get? A Marantz M22 M something. It's literally sitting over there, and I can't see it even with my glasses on. But it's a XLR mic with the cardioid, if that's how you pronounce it, thing on it, and it doesn't have the mute and all that stuff, which kind of bugs me. There's a lot of microphones out there that don't have a mute, and if I sneeze, I'd like to mute it so that I don't have to go in and edit later on that because what'll happen is if you have a loud noise like that, when it goes to normalize the rest of your audio, it'll start to normalize it at that higher frequency, which will make things sound kind of weird, just because you happen to sneeze during it. So if you do that, I tend to go and find where I did and just highlight that and remove it, or silence it, I should say, insert silence. But it's I would much rather, if I see it, if I feel it coming on, I'd much rather, hit the mute like I can on my Yeti here. It's got the mute button right front and center. I can use that. I was looking at Blue microphones. I was looking at the Spark, but I went on Amazon to look for it, and it's only used. They're not showing any new units out there. So I was like, well, that's a bummer. So I guess I'll look at the next best seller and see if that's halfway decent. So I'm going to be trying out that mic. I was really looking for an XLR mic because I had purchased a few months ago the Tascam US 2x2, which I use for my headset mic, which I use when I'm streaming now. So that's the, what is this? This is the Audio-Technica BPH S1. And I use that. You can't really see it, unfortunately, because if I put it in front of my face, you can see it. There you go. I use this when I'm streaming now because that way the microphone's always at my where it's supposed to be, and as I move my head around, everything else, that works out a lot better, so I don't have to lean over like I'm doing now to make sure that my voice is still being picked up at a good clip. And so I've got that, and so I wanted to get another thing. I have another port on there for another XLR mic, so I wanted to get fully XLR'd up so that all spiffy and actual and not a noob anymore, I guess, is what I was going for there. So we got that going on, and I also got the headset mic because I wanted to do some VR stuff. Now, I'm going to spend a little bit of time on my vacation here, trying to figure out VR stuff, and I may do a test video. I may put a video up of me recording something in VR, and we'll see how it works out. It's the game that I really want to play in VR, that's really good in VR, does not record very well, because like the menus and stuff only show up in your headset and they don't show up on the recording window, so you would not see the menus, but I would, and it bugs me a little bit, but and it doesn't quite sync up with where you're looking and stuff. It does and it doesn't. So I have to see what I can do with that. There's another game as well. There's like a puzzle game that I've just picked up that I want to also try and see how that works. Although that one's room scale, and I did not pick up the Oculus Touch things because even though I could have picked them up having bought the thing, I just didn't feel like putting the money down for them right now. But I do have the Vive, which I have not set up yet. It's still sitting in the box, so I may end up setting that up and trying to do the room scale stuff. This room is so jam-packed with stuff that I feel like that's never going to work out for me, but we'll see. We'll see how that happens. But I may not end up recording any of that stuff, at least as far as the VR stuff goes. It's just not. First of all, the games aren't that compelling yet, and second of all, it's a pain in the neck to try to record. It really is. A lot of the games really hurt when you put the headset on. Like I have another set of glasses besides this that are actually a little bit smaller that I can put on and then put the headset on, so I can actually see. But then I've had instances where, like, there's some early access games that were in, like, the Oculus VR and all that stuff, where it was just not, like, the two eyes were not syncing up, and it was just giving you an instant migraine headache, and it was just, oof, it was just bad. Like, it's one thing to have a bad game. It's another thing to have a game that you've designed for VR that it just doesn't work in VR. Like you've never actually tested it in VR because it's just if you do it bad in VR, it hurts. If you do it bad in just a regular thing, it still hurts a little bit, but not quite as much. You're not like causing eye strain and stuff and instant headaches. So we'll see how that works out. So I'll keep trying. I'll keep plugging away at that to see what happens. You'll notice also, especially with my playthrough here, there, on the Android stuff, that I'm starting to use an Android emulator called Nox to record some of the Android stuff, because it's a lot easier for me. Like, I can record on the phone with Google Play, but then I gotta pull it off the phone, and then I gotta sync it up, and then it still has the freaking Google Play like logo in there, which is I can't get rid of for some reason. I don't know. Some Google engineer thought that was a good idea. So it was. I try not to use that if I can help it. I used to record off of my tablet, but that has started to get it started to slow down quite a bit. And CyanogenMod on there is it's very hard to work with. Like, once you get it working, it works okay, but sometimes it doesn't start up right away. Sometimes I have to fuddle with it. Sometimes I have to drop into the the BIOS or whatever it's called, whatever they call it on the Android there, to get things to work again. And it's a lot of fiddling. Whereas with the Android emulator and software, it just plain works. The problem is it's an older version of Android. It's like 4.4 or something like that. So not all the games work on it, but at least I can get some good, decent things out of it. And I've noticed, depending on the game, there might be some graphical issues. I know Deus Ex Go, when I was playing that on the emulator, some of the textures weren't quite right when I played it between that and on the phone. So what I've been doing is playing a little bit on my phone and then playing it on the emulator to see how much difference there is. And if there's a big difference, I probably won't record it. But if it's about the same, then I'm trying to record those things. And there's been a couple mobile things that have interested me and look pretty cool. So I keeping my eye out for those things. I'm trying not to record things on mobile that are really what would be the good term here? Standard? Maybe like things that aren't just total cash grabs or wastes of time. I mean, it's hard to say, because a lot of things on mobile are meant to be a waste of time because you're probably sitting somewhere where you just need to kill some time. But there's things like like Clash of Clans and all that stuff where it's like, okay, now you have 5 points to do this, and then 10 points to do this, and then you got to come back next week for 5 more points to do something else. It's like, I'm trying to avoid those. I'm trying to stick with only the things that are still some semblance of being a game. Like, you could take it from the mobile platform and put it on the PC and it would probably still work, that kind of thing. So I've been trying to stick to those whenever possible, and trying to think of what else here. So that covers the sort of VR situation. I cover some of the recording stuff that I've been doing. Be upgrading the mic soon. I did, like, last month or so, I upgraded the operating system on my laptop to the newest Ubuntu. And I started to get some stuttering when I was recording at 96 kilobits, my voice. So I've reduced that to 48, and I haven't gotten any of that like stuttering anymore. So it's going to stay there for a little while. I'm going to try bumping it back up when I get the new mic and see if that works a lot better. Because then I can keep, I like to have the higher quality just so that I know eventually it's going to get down to 48, but I figure if I start out with more than that, it'll be better off down the bottom. And the beyond that, I've been recording a lot more with Shadowplay. I'm a little bit more satisfied with Shadowplay than I have been. Like, things are now recording as one big file instead of being cut up into multiple 4 gig files, which is nice, very, very nice. But it's still like limited to 48 kilohertz as far as the audio is concerned, and it doesn't output things as uncompressed. So the only output that I can seem to get out of it is an MP4, which is already compressed, and then I then take that, edit it, and make another MP4 out of it, which is then further compressing it. So the quality is, you're basically taking a copy of a copy at that point, a lossy copy of a lossy copy. So you're going to lose a little bit in the colors and everything else going between those things. So I've been doing it mostly out of necessity because DxTory has been really messing up lately. Like, it's a lot of games just don't work on it, or it's when it does work, it's it will only render at like the frame rate will tank to where I can't like record at anything above 30. Like, it'll sometimes record at 15 frames a second, whereas I can just record from Shadowplay at the full 60. So I don't know what's going on with that. They've been in the process of just, really trying to get that thing together, and there's been updates, but it's as you might imagine, it's only one dev, so it's been slow going. So I've been using DxTory whenever I can, but I've been, a lot of times I've been using Shadowplay, so you might see a video quality drop a little bit over the last couple months, just because of necessity, honestly. I mean, if I'm almost ready to go pull out Fraps and go back to recording on Fraps. That'll be the day, though. But the reason I like recording on DxTory is because I've got the codec all set up for it, and it will record at the higher audio streaming rate and audio bit rate and all that stuff, and then you've got more to work with when it comes down to when you start to actually render out your MP4, and it puts things out as an AVI file that's uncompressed. So there's no loss of quality there that you would get from going from an MP4 to another MP4. So yeah, those things. All the shop here. All the shop is being talked, but I figured this is a cool little way of getting you guys up to speed with everything and what's happened this year. And like I said, the side quests will be continuing. As far as the games and the streaming, so I do want to stream more often. I think what I'm going to try to do is actually stream some stuff that I'll then cut up into episodes and put onto the YouTube, onto the Memory League Death channel. I know that's kind of weird because it'll be on the Memory League Doom channel in its full entirety, and then I'll be cutting it up and putting it as episodic on the Memory League Death channel. So it might be a little bit weird, but I do want to keep the main channel as more of an edited experience, if you will. I've noticed a lot of YouTubers are doing that now, where they're just like, we're just going to dump 2-hour videos out there of our live streams, and they seem to be still getting some decent views on it. And I figure, I'm the king of putting out really long ass videos, so I might as well embrace that, since everyone else has apparently started to do that too. But there will be certain games that I do that on. Not every game, like Borderlands is not going to be on here. There's other games that I want to stream that I know I can't put on YouTube. I'm looking at you, Nintendo. There are there was an Indiegogo campaign for some kind of retro emulator box that just a little hardware box that outputs at HD quality stuff. So I have contributed to that, so hopefully we'll have some of that going on. Obviously I still have emulators that I can run myself, but those things I might end up just streaming to like Twitch and Beam and not to anywhere else if I do those. And I do want to make some more time for streaming. I'm hoping that by streaming things and then cutting them up into episodes and then putting them on the YouTube, that I'll get the best of both worlds there. Because it's always been a time thing. It's not been a really desire thing. It's been a time thing. which is interesting to say, since when I first started out on YouTube, I was like, I don't know if I really want to do this streaming thing. I was like, well, now the streaming thing is okay. I just, it just took a long time for me to warm up to it. That includes the whole this thing here, whatever this thing is right here. That's going to be an interesting turn of events, I'd say. And I do want to embrace a little bit more of that. I've also, since I'm not an artist in any stretch of the imagination, I purchased a, what are the overlays? Some new overlays they're actually done by an artist. So I will be going through and trying to make the overlays work and putting them together and get my pages looking halfway decent on the streaming sites and all that stuff. Restream has been just kicking butt. The Restream chat is freaking awesome. Like every week there's like a new update, and this time they've got bots now. They've got chat bots now that work across all the streams, across all the services and all that stuff. It's just they're knocking it out of the park. So I'm going to continue using them because I love what they're doing. I've been actually donating to them every month. They have like a PayPal thing because I think it's just fantastic what they're doing. So that will continue, and the videos will continue as well. I have been very slanted towards RPGs lately, and I'm going to try to pull back a little bit on that. I still have a lot of RPGs I want to play. Some of those will just be stream only things, but I do want to have a mix of both stream only things and things I put on the channel. So there will still be some RPGs on the channel. It's just I want to make sure I cut it down to maybe one at a time instead of having multiples. But we'll see. It all comes down to what is fun, what looks like fun to play. And I'm also trying to bring back some sandbox games. Empyrean, I will be getting back to that soon. I'm also been playing Astroneer, so you'll see a little bit of that coming up soon. I did record some footage for Sunday, but I ended up tossing it out because it wasn't that great. So I'm going to redo that and try to get Astroneer on the channel. There's a bunch of other sandbox games that I've kind of looked at here and there that I might do some videos on. I like to revisit. There's a few of them that I looked at earlier on. I want to revisit as well. I don't think I'll revisit Starbound. I think I'm pretty much done with Starbound at this point. I know that they had a good update with some more stuff in it, but I'm pretty well done with them. And which is weird because I only did 9 episodes, but it was like those 9 episodes were literally 67 hours of playtime. But I'm pretty well done with that. Space Engineers, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with that. I want to do, I think, more of a creative series in Space Engineers where I work in creative mode and do maybe some modding and stuff. They just went into beta and they had some kind of weird game-breaking bug where it's like when you're building a ship, the landing gear doesn't lock anymore, so your ship just falls over as you're building it. So it's just, I'm waiting to see what goes on with that and seeing that they fix that sometime soon. And beyond that, Empyrean's going to be sort of the main thing, I think. Astroneer will be sort of a side thing because there's not a lot of content in Astroneer yet. It's only about maybe 6 hours of content or so. So I assume I'll get through that relatively quickly. Ember is continuing on. Ember, when I started playing Ember, there was a lot of reviews saying that it was a very short game. It is not a very short game at all. It is like, I'm 20 hours into it. That 20 hours is not a short game. I'm sorry, people. You're all wrong. I thought it was like 8 to 10 hours, but it's a lot longer than that. And I don't even think I'm halfway through it yet. So that will continue, and I'm still enjoying that. So that will certainly continue. Forza Horizon 3 will be coming back. I wanted to get Deus Ex done. which it's done for now until the next DLC comes out. And I wanted to get, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and all that stuff off my plate. So that's why Forza Horizon took a side saddle for a little bit. And that will be coming back because I do intend on recording some of that probably tomorrow, maybe sometime this week. I'm pretty sure sometimes this week. I bought the expansion pack for it, the Blizzard Mountain thing. So I definitely want to get some more of that footage done. And I've been looking at other racing games too, possibly. We'll see what happens there. I've been playing around with Project Cars, and it's not really grabbing my balls at all. And I might look at iRacing, but I think that's a little bit too simmy for me. So I'm looking around to see. I do have Steep, which I want to play through possibly. I don't know if it's going to be a series or if it's just going to be a one-off side quest video, because I was playing with the wingsuit earlier in that game, and I kept crashing. And I not the game, just I kept crashing into the mountain, and I'm struggling with trying to figure out how the controls actually work, because even though they seem relatively straightforward, your guy just doesn't stay in the air, so I may end up. We'll see what happens with that. I wanted to look to see if I could find SSX, because I heard that was like fantastic, and I want to see what the whole hubbub was about it. I do have a PS4 now, and I do have Dragon Quest Builders, and I do want to do that as well. I don't know. My thought was that would be a live stream that I then cut up into episodes and put on the channel. We'll see how that works out, because I'm still very interested in the game. I just know there's going to be a lot of time where I'm just sitting around just building stuff probably. So we'll see how that works. And I was having problems with this is the first time I'm really using a PS4 controller in a long time, and I'm not used to the X button being in the wrong spot and all that stuff, so I kept pressing the wrong button for X, thinking it was on the bottom and the top and all that stuff. It's just I was struggling a little bit with it, but now that I have a PS4, I can play some things there. I do want to eventually go through the Uncharted series. I want to buy the one game, the Uncharted. Whatever it was, it had Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 in it. I have Uncharted 4 already because it came as a bundle with the PS4. So I would like to play through that whole series eventually. I don't know when that'll happen, but it would be nice to do that. That would be something good on the channel. That'll balance out the channel a little bit. I want to get some real-time or some strategy games on the channel as well. Not real-time, but strategy games there. I'm still on the lookout for puzzle-y games that aren't like ridiculously difficult, something like the Turing Test, so I'm keeping my eyes peeled for that. And yeah, I mean, it's more of the same, I'd say, as far as all that's concerned. I want to balance out the channel a little bit more with how things are. I want to get some more space games on the channel. I'm looking over here right now on my thing at Tachyon the Fringe. That I'd like to play for the channel. That I'm not sure if I want to do a live stream of that or if I want to do it just on my own. We'll have to see how that pans out. But I have it all modified. I put mods on it to make it widescreen and all that stuff and work. It seems to work pretty well. I was able to plug my multi-axis joystick into it, and it understood everything. It understood the throttle controls and everything. So I was like, hey, this is fantastic. All right, this is begging me to play it again. And it's been a long time since I played that game, so I don't remember how much downtime there was in it between missions and whatnot. So, like I said, that's a good candidate for let me do a live stream of this and then see what happens. Maybe it'll just be a live stream game. Maybe it'll be a combination of both. I kind of want it to be a combination of both, but we'll see how that. My answer to everything is we'll see. We shall see, because I haven't really thought that far ahead. I'm flying by the seat of my pants, in case you haven't deduced that by this point. That is just how I'm rolling, and a lot of it comes down to what I'm comfortable with. It takes me a while to warm up to certain concepts. If you had told me, 2 years ago that I would be sitting here with a webcam and actually not feel completely skeeved out, I would have said you were a dirty, filthy liar. But I'm actually sitting here and I actually don't feel that bad. I thought I would be really, nervous and/or just kind of just like, I don't think this is a good thing to have. But actually I'm here and it doesn't feel that bad. I think I've grown a bit, and I'm going out. I'm venturing out of my comfort zone a little bit, not a whole lot. It's just taking baby steps to move away from some of the preconceived notions I had and some of the other things of that nature, and just kind of embrace the scene, as it were. Embrace. We are the Borg. You will be assimilated. Damn it, man. I thought I had avoided this. Oh, but I've been rambling on for almost an hour now, so that is something. That just goes to show you how much footage I had recorded of Dragon Quest 1, because I started recording it and I was like, oh, I'm back into this again. I need to get all the stuff, and I was finding remembering all the areas where there was secret hidden things and all that stuff. So I loved the Dragon Warrior. It was Dragon Warrior when I played it the last time, but I didn't want to play the emulated version because I know that the Japanese companies get a little bit iffy when you play an emulated thing. So I went looking for if it existed anywhere else, and that there was a mobile edition of it for iOS and Android, and so that's why I'm playing the mobile edition and not just playing an emulator one right now. So it's really weird, the mobile edition too, because they've changed some of the names of the enemies and stuff. The names are a little bit better. I mean, like Prestidigitator, whereas it used to be a magician, but it's still an interesting or alleged domain, whereas it was like some kind of purple magician or something, whatever it was in the in the original, in Dragon Warrior. But yeah, and the music, of course, the iconic music is always a good thing. I started playing a little bit of Dragon Quest Builders, and that music started kicking in. I was like, oh, this brings me back. This brings me back, let me tell you. But anyway, I've been rambling on for a while here. This has been a pretty long channel update, but I wanted to just kind of give you an idea of where I'm at as far as 2016 goes and what I'm looking for as far as 2017 goes. Hopefully, incremental improvements is what I'm looking for, and maybe I'll figure out this whole webcam thing. And one thing's for damn sure, I'm not going to turn this cut your background out thing on until I can figure out how to make it not be terrible. They're like, oh yeah, you can cut your background out of your room without using a green screen. Bullshit. Definitely need a green screen or something of that type. Just you need something in the background that is solid, like a solid wall. And unfortunately, I don't have a solid wall. I've got a window behind me. I've got a door behind me. I've got all kinds of stuff. I got the soundproofing behind me, which I probably should buy a little bit more of that. But it's been working okay so far, just at least for the far wall anyway. But yeah, that's it. That's everything. And you've gotten to see my face for the first time in the channel history. Don't get used to it, but because I may decide tomorrow that it's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that anymore. But no, this will probably be the how I run the live streams and stuff now. going forward, and then any video that comes over from that will have my likeness in it. I kind of, when I first started out, I was like, I don't feel the need to like put my face on everything, because it's like, why? It's like collecting stickers. It's like, I don't need my name on everything. But now it's like, okay, I can see why people do it. And even the hardcore, I will never do a video face, a video face. I will never do a video face. Are now doing a video face. so I might as well join. I might as well join in on that. Why not at this point? All right. Well, that is it for me. Just have a happy holidays to everybody. The Cube Ramblings will continue. All the series that I have now will be wrapping up. I will figure out, hopefully I will be able to figure out how to get through Quadrilateral Cowboy, because I still have some footage of that, but I haven't beat the last, the last screen. So maybe I'll figure out how to beat the last level of that, and then we'll be able to actually put that one to bed. Other things like Rebel Galaxy, I think I'm going to bring back Rebel Galaxy, but it's going to be live stream only, because there was a lot of downtime in that. And be going through Borderlands 2. I'm getting close to the end of the main story of Borderlands 2 on the streams, and I'll need to. I have a bunch of DLC to go through on that. And then we got to do Borderlands, the pre-sequel, so I got a long way to go yet on there. And I got to figure out when I'm going to do more streaming. Also, as far as Star Trek Online goes, that's starting to wind down because I'm starting to hit endgame content that is not really as episodic as it used to be, or as episodic as all the other stuff was. It'll continue until I run out of episodes to play through, because right now some of the things that are popping up are like, this is a PvE or this is a PvP thing. I'm like, I don't want to record that. I just want the single player episodes, which seem to be going fewer and far between now. So I that will continue until I hit the end of that, and I will be picking up again Elder Scrolls Online. Hopefully I'll get some more recorded of that this week, and then we'll be able to get back into the swing of that, because I barely even touched the game, and then I got too busy with so many other things going on. So that is where we stand. That is where we stand thus far. I don't have any plans for multiplayer stuff or anything like that. It's going to be me own lonesome, me own lonesome for the foreseeable future. But that's just because my schedule is just terrible, and I'm doing what I can with what I've got. So thanks so much for watching, everybody, and sticking with the channel. Welcome to the people who are new to the channel, and happy 2016, happy holidays. And I'll be back with a new channel update in January, hopefully on time, and we'll pick it up from there. 2017 is looking pretty fine. See you, bye.